How do I stack my layers? What order do I put them in? Should I do my layer masks later or should I do them before? What about liquify and retouching? When do I do that? Hey everyone, my name is Everett Christopher. I'm a portrait photographer based in Austin, Texas. I've shot everything from weddings, boudoir, glamour, headshots, and almost everything in between except for war photojournalism. Oh, and babies. I can't photograph babies. I've devised a method called LRSA. It stands for Liquify Retouch Separate Aesthetic. And what it is a workflow that you can use to keep you in line and to give you a starting point when you're going through portrait retouching. In particular, I use it with my gel photography. Back in 2017, I started using gels, and I noticed very quickly that I was doing the same thing over and over again systematically when it came to editing. These gel photos take a lot of time, so to make my time more efficient, I came up with this system called LRSA. It stands for Liquify Retouch Separate Aesthetic, and it's based on a fundamental rule. The rule is layer masks are dependent upon the figure and the hair in a given portrait. So things like liquify, for example, and other fundamental things have to be completed first before you start dealing with layers that are going to use layer masks. Liquify Retouch Separate Aesthetic will take you down this pathway. The first step, of course, is liquify. That is the Liquify tool in Photoshop. This has to do with basically fine-tuning, tucking in your client's figures here and there, fixing hair. Why is this important? Why is Liquify even a thing? The reality is almost all of my clients ask me to tuck them in here and there. Whether it's shrinking a waist or making a booty look bigger, I've heard it all. So that is something that if you pursue boudoir or glamour photography, that you're going to hear at one point, probably very quickly after you start. The next thing that I'm asked usually after that is clients ask to have their facial blemishes, wrinkles reduced or eliminated altogether. And that's where retouching comes into play. So we're talking about things like frequency separation, dodging and burning. Frequency separation corrects tonal issues, and you can also use it to remove blemishes. Dodging and burning has to do with adding shadow and depth to a given portrait, and sometimes even adjusting the contour of a jawline or a cheekbone. Separate is literally just one step. It has to do with using the Refine Edge tool in Photoshop to separate the model from the background. There's two reasons this is important. The obvious reason is the separation allows you to independently work on the model and the background as you see fit. Changes you make to the background, for example, don't have to apply to the figure, and vice versa is true. The second reason is this is your first layer mask in the workflow. So this is kind of establishing that base layer mask, and you can use this mask as a reference point to build your other masks, which is completed in the fourth step, which is the aesthetic portion of the workflow. This is where you can get really crazy with adjustment layers, things like curves, color balance, hue saturation, and selective color, among others. This is where the artwork really comes out, and you can get really creative, have a lot of fun, and go crazy. So that's basically it, Liquify Retouch Separate Aesthetic. If you are interested in learning this workflow and seeing multiple tutorials using this workflow, visit learngels.com, and for a very reasonable price, you can get over 24 hours of video footage that talks about this method, along with Photoshop 101, Photography 101, and a ton of extra videos like BTS, videos of me working with models on an actual shoot, lighting setup, and more. Okay guys, glad you visited my channel. I hope you see some videos that can be helpful to you, and stay creative. It's funny, I'm recording and I didn't intend for this to be like a TED Talk, but we could turn this into, be like, hey, by the way guys, listen to this.
I forgot.
This is how you talk to models.
Yeah, just be yourself. Don't be weird.
There you go, welcome to my TED Talk.